So be honest, is there a conversation you've been putting off? Maybe it's with an employee, maybe it's with a coworker, maybe it's even with your boss. Most leaders know they need to have difficult conversations. The problem isn't knowing, the problem is doing it. So why do we avoid them? I think there's definitely a few reasons. Sometimes we're afraid of damaging the relationship. Sometimes we're worried the other person will get angry. And sometimes we just don't feel prepared. And sometimes, if we're just being honest, we kind of just hope the problem fixes itself over time. But something that I've learned, the conversations we avoid rarely get easier with time. The problem usually gets bigger. The frustration grows, the behavior becomes a habit, the rest of the team starts noticing. Eventually, the conversation we could have in 10 minutes becomes one that takes weeks, months, or years to repair. Avoidance has a cost. It costs trust, it costs credibility, it costs culture, and sometimes it costs good employees who are wondering why the standards only seem to apply to some people. One of the biggest mindset shifts I ever made was a difficult conversation isn't something you do to someone, it's something you do for them. Think about if someone on your team is struggling and you never tell them, how can they improve? If they're damaging relationships and nobody says anything, how are they going to know? If they're falling short of the standard and everyone stays quiet, how can we really say we helped? We can't, right? Silence isn't kindness. It's avoidance. Now, that doesn't mean every difficult conversation should be harsh. In fact, the best difficult conversations are built on respect. You know, you don't attack the person, you address the behavior. You don't assume intent, you seek understanding. You don't focus on winning the conversation, you focus on helping the other person succeed. That's leadership. Remember, your goal isn't to prove someone wrong. Your goal is to help them become better. When people know you genuinely care about their success, difficult conversations become easier to receive. Not because they're comfortable, because they're just rooted in trust, right? So here's my challenge for you on this. Think about the conversation you've been avoiding. Ask yourself one question. What will it cost if I wait another month? If the cost of waiting is greater than the discomfort of having the conversation, then you already know what you need to do. Have the conversation. Lead with respect. Lead with clarity. Lead with courage, right? Because leadership isn't measured by the easy conversations. It's measured by the ones you're willing to have when they matter most. Thanks for watching. This is another Leadership Minute from Hydelogix. Better thinking, better leaders, better futures.